If you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching YouTube after you watch the Pullmanton and Set-types videos, and still can't decide whether a salt chlorine generator is worth the money, this review is here to cut through the noise. You're probably wondering if the upfront cost will actually save you time, chemicals, and headaches, or if you'll end up with a pricey piece of metal that just sits in the garage. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through the real-world experience of the CircuPool EDGE40 so you can decide if it's the right fit for your backyard oasis. First off, the EDGE40 is marketed as a professional-grade system that can handle pools up to 40,000 gallons. That sounds impressive on paper, but what matters day-to-day is how easy it is to get from the box to a sparkling pool without becoming a DIY nightmare. The unit arrives in a sturdy, weatherproof housing that feels solid enough to survive a Midwest summer storm. Installation, according to the manual, is essentially a plug-and-play job. You connect the generator to your existing pump return line, slip the salt cell into the housing, add the recommended amount of salt, and you're ready to power it up. In practice, most homeowners with a standard sand or DE filter will finish the whole process in under an hour, especially if they've already run a line for a traditional chlorine feeder. The key selling point here is compatibility. The EDGE40 is designed to work with virtually any pump and filter combo you already have, which eliminates the need for a costly system overhaul. Now, let's talk about the everyday interaction. Once the unit is live, you set the desired chlorine output on the digital control panel, a simple rotary knob and a small LCD that shows current production, salt level, and any error codes. The advanced digital control isn't just a flashy screen. It actually lets you fine-tune the chlorine generation based on pool usage. For a family that swims heavily on weekends, you can bump the output up to the maximum 1.7 pounds per day and then dial it back during the week when the pool is quieter. The built-in diagnostics constantly monitor the titanium cell's health and will flash a warning if scaling starts to form. That early warning saved a friend of mine from a costly cell replacement because he could clean the cell before the performance dropped dramatically. Speaking of cleaning, the EDGE40 includes a handy cleaning cap that screws onto the cell for periodic flushing. The process is straightforward. You turn the unit off, remove the cap, rinse the cell with a mild acid solution or even just a garden hose, snap the cap back on, and the system resumes normal operation. Unlike some cheaper generators that require you to pull the whole unit out of the line for cleaning, this design keeps the maintenance steps minimal and non-intrusive. In real-world use, that translates to maybe a 10-minute chore every month or so, rather than a full-scale service call. Durability is another claim that the marketing pushes hard. The EDGE40 is built in the USA with premium components, and the housing is described as heavy-duty and weatherproof. After 3 months of exposure to a humid, salty air environment near the coast, the unit showed no signs of corrosion or electronic failure. The titanium cell, which is the heart of any salt system, is known for resisting the kind of scaling that can cripple lower-end models. In practice, that means you can expect a longer lifespan before the cell needs replacement, typically every 35 years for a pool of this size, versus the 12-year turnover you see with budget units. So who should actually consider buying the EDGE40? If you have a medium to large residential pool, say anything above 15,000 gallons, and you're tired of juggling chlorine tablets, liquid stabilizer, and the occasional shock treatment, this generator is a solid investment. Homeowners who already have a reliable pump and filter system will appreciate that the unit slots in without major plumbing changes. It also makes sense for those who want a set-and-forget solution, because once the salt level is balanced, the system maintains chlorine levels automatically, freeing you from the weekly chemistry checks that many pool owners dread. Conversely, if your pool is smaller than 10,000 gallons, you'll likely find the 40,000 gallon capacity excessive, and a lower output model could meet your needs at a reduced cost. Similarly, if you're renting or planning to move within a few years, the upfront expense might not pay off before you hand the property over. People with very limited space for salt storage might also run into a practical snag. You need roughly 100 pounds of salt for a 40,000 gallon pool, which translates to a sizable bag that needs a dry, shaded spot to sit. If you don't have that storage area, you'll end up buying a separate container just to keep the salt from clumping. Let's be clear about the hidden trade-offs. While the chlorine production is impressive, The system does rely on a constant flow of water through the cell. If your pump runs on a timer and you only circulate water a few hours a day,